Okay, Mike, so let's see what you wrote in this set of essays, shall we? The first one is pollution. What are the reasons and how can it be solved? Let's see what you wrote. Okay, let's talk about first things first. I see that you wrote 5 paragraphs. I don't know why. The general structure here should be introduction, conclusion, and then 1 paragraph discussing the reasons, and then another paragraph discussing the solutions. So we're going to look at why you did it like this, but just giving you a heads up that this is probably how you should have done this. All right, let's see what you actually wrote. For the past decades, industrialization, rapid increase in world population, and migration from rural areas to big metropolises has resulted in tremendous smog, air condition, and downgrading of the environment. This essay will describe the causes and give some solutions to the current situation, which is profoundly disturbing and extremely harmful at the same time. Okay, so far so good. Since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, pollution has been increasing rapidly. When you have these words like this, since, for the past decades, you're basically committing yourself to using certain tenses, okay? They're called time markers, so you must know which tenses go with which time markers, okay? So it has been increasing rapidly, reaching a hectic pace in recent years. No as after with a comma. I don't know what you're trying to say here, but let's see. As when it comes to slowing the technological process seems to be difficult things to do, other measures, some of them draconian without the S, can be taken to prevent future downfall. Okay, I would have just gotten rid of the as. You didn't need it at all. Governments should, careful with your typing please, should make a plea for future generations and present something like an environment rescue package. For example, replacing carbon-based energy and technologies with water, solar or wind plants. Okay. For example, replacing carbon-based energy and technologies with water, solar or wind plants should be unequivocally not only encouraged but forced or even imposed. All right. I'm going to keep going and then I'll tell you what I think. Secondly, educating citizens to go green when it comes to waste segregation, cutting down usage of energy at home, and at the same time subsidizing electric cars, car sharing, or improving public transportation. These methods seem to me might contribute to making the air around us breathable. Tell me how. How does this help? Why do you think this would solve our problem? Okay, you have to support your argument. Thirdly, we should think about improving the infrastructure in less populated and rural areas so that living there could be interesting and fulfilling. This and encouraging people to work remotely might reverse the direction of migration. How? Why? Explain it to me. How would this help? Okay? To conclude, fast development of industry and exponential growth in the human population cause extreme worsening of the quality of our air. As stopping further technological progress or depopulation are hard to imagine, other measures have to be implemented soon, otherwise our carbon footprint will be a Gulliverian one and easily, ILY, seen from space, where future generations will have to be not allocated but located. All right, you've got some nice elements here, okay? The good news is you had a lot of information for your solutions paragraph. That's the good news. The bad news was the development of this was very problematic. You put all of these ideas here, okay, in your introduction where it didn't belong. Okay, your introduction needed to be, as the word implies, just introducing the topic, okay, and also saying that you're going to talk about the problems of this, the reasons for this problem, and how to solve them. Then, as I said before, a paragraph talking about the problems. Why is pollution coming worse, especially in large cities? Explain it, expand upon it, give me examples, okay? You could have talked about industry, you could have talked about cars, you could have talked about the population moving away from rural areas and moving into bigger cities and what this means, okay? So, but of course everything has to be supported, that's how you do your problem paragraph. Now, as for your solutions paragraph, it looks to me like you really had three. You had three solution paragraphs, and you didn't have one single paragraph for the problems. It's like you stuck it all in your introduction. So you needed to expand on these, as strange as that might sound. So just pick two. You don't have to pick 3 or 4, but pick 2 solutions, but expand on them, support them, give them an explanation. Okay? But they have to be in one paragraph. So that's how you have to do it. One paragraph for the problems and explaining them, one problem for the solutions and explaining them. All right? Some grammar problems, some problems with, what's that word? Articles. That's right. Your articles were a little problematic. But, okay. And there were other grammatical issues as well. So you just need to correct them. I think I caught all of them. Well, most of them, not all of them. Let's take a look at your bar chart. All right, let's not call it colorful. In IELTS, it's never colorful. It's just black and white. So you can leave that out. Don't get in the habit of assuming it's going to be colorful. It should just say, this bar chart. It's a line graph, but it's a bar chart or it's a pie chart. All right, this bar chart presents numbers in thousands of cars being sold across, careful with your typing, 9 different European countries in the year 2018. It shows the total number of vehicles and subdivides them in 3 specific brands. Now, the best thing you can do for yourself here is say what the brands are and say what the countries are, because what I find most people do is they miss something. Usually not the car companies, but they absolutely miss one of the countries. And what that means is that it really will lower your task achievement score. Okay? Even if you merely mention them by name, you are saving yourself some very crucial points in your task achievement. So here is a very good time to include them. All right? But here, even when you said 3 specific brands, it wouldn't have been difficult for you to just say Audi, Ford, BMW. When it comes to numbers, comma, most cars were sold in Hungary, reaching almost 400,000, no S, followed by France with just above 300,000. Careful. We know it's in the thousands, but you still have to give those 000s. Then we have a number of countries with similar sales, no A, with Italy and Belgium at the bottom, merely reaching around 100,000. No, don't talk about size of population. It's not included in the diagram. It's just something you know from your personal experience or knowledge, but it's not anywhere listed here, so don't mention it. So I'm just going to completely ignore it, okay? I'm not even going to read it. Colors represent different brands, and it can be spotted that when some country numbers were spread equally, for example, please write out, for example. Don't assume, I mean, it's not a common abbreviation, FE for example. All right, just write the word out. It's an academic essay. So, some countries' numbers were spread equally. For example, France had some other preferences. I have no idea what this means. Let's try it again. Colors represent different brands, and it can be spotted that when in some countries numbers were spread equally, France had some preferences. Okay, we have to fix that completely. In Belgium, Ford was the most popular, leaving the other 2 almost statistically insignificant. Germans tend to prefer local cars, hence Audi and BMW left little place for Ford. To conclude, this bar chart shows numbers and preferences of 3 brands of cars in 9 European countries. Okay, check it out. There is no overview. So I can assure you right then you're not going to get a 6 without an overview. You're not going to get a 6, okay? You also, now when I say overview, what did I want? I wanted you basically to say that overall, it appears that the most cars were sold in Hungary and the fewest cars were sold in Belgium. Done. That's your overview. Get out of there and then go into your detailed paragraphs. The other problem you had is that while you mentioned the 3 cars, you did exactly what I was afraid of. You didn't mention all 9 countries. That's going to cost you. You have to at least mention all of them by name, okay? So that's also going to cost you for your task achievement. I felt like you left out a lot of details. Even though you wrote stuff, it wasn't analysis of the chart, okay? You talked to me about Hungary, you talked to me about France, you talked a little bit about Belgium, you talked about Italy, you talked a little about Germany, but then that's it. Then you gave me very, very little information about the individual car companies themselves. Okay, so while I might know a tiny bit about the highest and the lowest countries, I don't know anything about the cars within the car companies within those. So that's a problem. It's just underdeveloped. I mean, there's very little detail. There's lots of writing, but there's very little substance to what you wrote. Okay, like this, for example, France had some other preferences. Grammatically, it was wrong, and it didn't really tell me anything. Okay, here, you told me that Belgium was the most popular, but I don't know what that means. And Ford, I'm sorry, you said that in Belgium, Ford was the most popular, but you didn't give me any data about it. So you absolutely have to include some data here. Okay. And then again, in Germany, you gave me this information, but no data. So it's absolutely underdeveloped. But I think for me, the most important thing is that you left out the names of the countries. You only talked about maybe 5 of them. You should have at least listed them by name. Like I said, up here in the beginning would have been the best place to do that. And then there's very little in terms of data. Yeah. There's some data here, but it's certainly not enough because there's nothing about the individual car companies, and that's a problem. All right, I think I've gone into quite a bit of detail about this. You know where the problems with this task 1 are. So go ahead and correct it, okay, this as well as your task 2, obviously. Send them back to us, corrected, add to your error correction list. There were a lot of problems with, I think, articles, as I already said, so make sure you revise those rules and send us your error correction list and obviously your next set of essays. I hope you found this correction helpful. I hope that you will take the feedback and improve your next writing. So that's the end of this correction. I want to wish you lots of good luck with your next writing assignment.